Welcome to the PT Legends podcast, where co-host Dave Bess and myself, Scott Carpenter, share our journey and secrets of success. From our humble beginnings as personal training employees of a big box gym to struggling studio owners that have made every mistake in the book, to where we are now, the owners of a multi-seven-figure business operating multiple personal training studios internationally, and now coach and mentor to fitness professionals in 5 countries and counting. This is our story, and these are our secrets. Subscribe to our podcast, learn, take action, and build your own fitness empire. Welcome. How you doing today?
Big Dave's clocking in. I'm ready to do this thing.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Scott here. We are coming to you to talk about why we sucked for 8 years in the fitness industry as entrepreneurs, which is a long time to suck.
My mom, I think I told you before, she hates the word suck.
Right.
I remember being in 5th grade, Mrs. Ward's class. I came home one day and I said the word suck. And Mrs. Tammy Bess, she didn't put the old school soap in my mouth, but I've always kind of feared the word suck. And we were talking about kind of, hey, what should we name this, title this podcast? That was my first memory.
Better than mine. Better than mine, because on the school
What was your word? What was your
I think
word?
it was in the 6th grade, so that's when I took the bus to middle school.
Okay.
I wrote F-U on the windows 3 times, and then
Savage.
I know. It's the things you do to be cool at that age, right? And then the bus driver, I could see his eyes look up in the mirror because there's mirrors everywhere, right?
Did he tell your parents?
Oh, he told whatever teachers when I got off, and I got busted. Yeah.
Did you get a whipping?
I can't remember. I got so many of them though. But I just know that the principal wrote his name with a ruler, because he's got something going on where he can't really control it. So he signs his name on a ruler, so it's all flat at the bottom. But I don't think our people are tuning in to hear these stories.
No.
So anyways, why we sucked for 8 years in the fitness industry as entrepreneurs. And we're thinking about this and why did we suck? We can boil it down to one common denominator. And the reason why we were held back for so long is because we tried to do everything ourselves. We tried to find the best solutions. We tried to answer all the questions ourselves. And we didn't research and find out who we can go to that have already solved those same stupid problems. We didn't get involved with other business owners that were starting and trying different things and starting to figure these things out, to collaborate and share data and work through these things. And that was the number one thing that held us back. We can only try so many things, and we only have so many ideas between the two of us. You can't do it. You can't do it that fast. You can't move that fast. And not even just within our industry, but in different industries, taking what works in different things and pulling that into the brick and mortar fitness business. That we didn't do. But, it's a lot easier to do that nowadays, right? The internet, social media, it's easier to connect with people. 9-ish years ago or however long, it wasn't out there. But I wasn't reading books like I was. I didn't seek to have conversations with other business owners and people who were the best in the field. I didn't do it.
I can still look back now, because right now, our relationship, I feel like I'm part of something, how alone I felt. It's not only did we suck, and keep in mind, our version of sucking is we still built to multiple studios sucking.
True.
But I remember 2 things: how lonely I was, getting in my own head and trying to grind out each day. And I thought that I guess we thought the way this is the way it has to be.
Yeah.
Right. And the second thing, that we didn't have fun. So we can title this bad boy, we sucked, we were lonely, and we didn't have fun.
That's pretty much what it is. Being an entrepreneur can be one of the greatest jobs on the planet, but it can also be one of the worst jobs on the planet, because it is very friggin' lonely. And we weren't working together how we are now in this. We are kind of in our silos with it. And I felt I had to have all the answers for everyone. And I had to come up with all the answers. And then it was always on me. And that is a hard position to be in, where you feel like you have to provide for literally everyone that you work with and beneath you and everywhere. You have to have all the answers, and no one has all the answers, and nowhere to turn to either. Like, I'm just going to sit in front of my computer and try and research and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And, I did find some coaches and programs at some point that could help move me along in the right direction. But I was too scared to do it. Two things, maybe a little bit of ego too, and doubt, more doubt than ego, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, who is this guy? Does he really have all the, does he really know more than this, that, and the other? And part of that could be a little bit of ego play into it. Like, well, I've got multiple studios. Is this guy? And that doesn't negate the fact that he might have one studio and doing way better than me in all these different areas, right? So part of it was skepticism and not believing that they did. And to be honest, there are a lot of frauds out there too, right? There are a lot of frauds. And that kept me from taking the leap. And then I was scared to invest a lot of money and not get a return on it. I don't like to be duped,
You're right.
And so that kind of skepticism can be healthy, but it also can really hold you back. And, in this case, it really did hold me back quite a bit.
I remember I wasn't ready to bet on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's what held me back from taking that action to invest, because I wasn't ready to. And I think I've told you, like, I'm glad, like, the story played out the way that it should have played out.
Yeah.
Right. But I was afraid. I mean, when you bring out, and anyone out there, if you've invested in a high ticket coach, it's an investment. It's an investment. It's a gamble, and it's a gamble.
You're going to feel scared.
It's a gamble, right? But like, you have to have the cojones to say, I'm going to put it on the line for myself. That's what happens when you invest in yourself. You're betting on yourself. You're gambling on yourself.
Yeah. And it is scary because with some of them, you don't really know what you're getting.
I would say there's a huge leap of faith.
There is. And I was unwilling for quite a while. And I did it first, right?
Yep.
And I hired a coach. And I was actually looking for, and this didn't help either. We've all hired the marketing companies that make a lot of promises,
man.
right? So this is where I got like really scared, is because every time you'd hire somebody for ads and SEO or whatever, they literally, I mean, how many times have we all been disappointed by that, right? And they promise everything and deliver like nothing.
Yep.
So that kind of got me scared about things. But I was looking for a marketing company. I'm like, you know what? This is the number one thing that's holding me back right now. And so I'm going to research it. And then I came across a business mentorship group that was actually for not what we did in the fitness industry. They were specialized to CrossFit, which we don't do. And it really wasn't, they didn't really specialize in marketing either, but they had stuff in there. But I really resonated with a lot of the messaging. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I can see the value in having a coach, and I feel comfortable with it. So I hired them, and it was one of the greatest things I ever did. And it wasn't because they had a magic bag of tricks that I wasn't doing, but it was, I'd skip steps. I did learn some fundamentals that I had missed, but having a coach was unbelievable, because for the first time I felt like I wasn't totally alone. And that was a big thing. Somebody I could share things with, right? Somebody that could give me a fresh perspective on the things that I was missing, or the ones that I didn't want to face, right?
The skeletons in the closet.
The skeletons that you're like, no, that doesn't exist. Nope, not over there. And then they're just going to open it. What's this shit over here?
It's a sword in Scout's case.
Right. Yeah, swords. And probably some action figures or something like ridiculously nerdy. But yeah, so that really helped. It solved the biggest problem you talked about, like being alone. Mm-hmm. And you've got somebody to go through it with you. And that was just invaluable.
Nobody gets what it's like to be alone in the life of an entrepreneur. Like, we have beautiful, amazing wives. Like, they don't really get like the war that's going on in between our ears every second of every day.
That's it.
It doesn't turn off.
That's it. Yes, it's a war. Like, the battle, the entrepreneur, like your biggest enemy is yourself.
Yep.
And the things can be going great, right? But there's doubt creep. You get a bad day or two, and like you doubt everything in your life and everything that you've ever done. And like, do you have what it takes to move forward? And you're just one or two bad things away from happening from your whole business closing.
That's the importance of having a coach. We most times on Facebook, we see the highlights.
Oh yeah. The
Right?
highlight reels.
98% of the time, it's a real grind. And if you're losing, because that's the thing, is the life of an entrepreneur, we like to celebrate the 2%. That's what we're in it for. Is the 2% of days, the 2 out of the 100, we're like, holy shit, it's working.
Yeah.
But 98% of the time, we take losses.
Yeah, it's
you
tough.
can't do that alone. You can't do that alone.
Yeah, it's really, really, really difficult. And you're right. Like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs do really struggle with relationships with boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever, because they it's not that they don't want to understand, but they cannot understand the pressure behind personal guarantees, and you could lose staff and the revenue, and it can be very, very, very stressful. And even when things are going well, it can be stressful because you have a fear of losing it.
Shit, I took a big breath there. It's right around the corner. It's coming.
It's I don't know. It's a tough ass journey. It's a tough ass journey. And if you go it alone, it's unnecessarily difficult. And that was the biggest value.
It's impossible.
It is.
It's impossible.
And you will, even if you choose to do it all alone, you will be held back because you are not smarter than collectively 40 different people in a mastermind in a group. And that was, I'll say, the business coach, the biggest thing, again, was not what I was learning, because it wasn't even that applicable to the business, but fundamentals were. But it was the group. I was surrounded by other entrepreneurs and other fitness business owners going through a lot of the same problems that I was having. And there's comfort in that.
Yeah.
And being able to connect with them and call them and share things with them and share tips. And I did this. It was unbelievable. Like, I loved it. I loved it. Long after I kind of outgrew that group, but I stayed in it for quite a long time just because of that. And then I realized, I outgrew it. I have to keep leveling up. I've got to look beyond that to keep moving up and find a different circle. But after I joined that, a little bit after that, you also hired a couple different coaches.
Yep.
Right?
I told the story all the time. I got tricked into hiring a life coach.
Yeah.
And I told my mastermind, my lead guy at the end of it, you helped me find my purpose. That's the one thing that I got from the group of people that I worked with. Like you said, like the ins and outs of, how to build a high ticket movement. Like, that's all badass stuff that I learned.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken so much stuff that we've learned at all of our masterminds, and we've kind of blended our own chili.
Yeah,
we're doing.
Well, that's what we realized. Like, hey, we're not good enough. We went out and hired 4 different ones that are the best in their field, because no one is really that great in the brick and mortar fitness business. So we took aspects of high ticket coaching and online coaching and brick and mortar and like all this, and then we basically merged them and created our own thing for brick and mortar fitness businesses that just ended up working like absolute like fantasy magic, which is why we're here talking on the podcast today.
But it happened because we bet on ourselves, we gambled on ourselves, and we said we can't do this alone.
Yeah. Yep.
And then along the way, we met a group of just amazing people in all aspects that helped us define our purpose and our mission and
confront the skeletons in the closet.
Yeah.
Remember when we were sitting right over there?
Oh, God.
You know what I mean?
Told that story, podcast 1. I mean, that was the turning point right there.
Yep.
The line was in the sand, and we had to choose. And man, we just could not have done this on our own.
There's no way. There's literally a 0% chance if we didn't reach out and bet on ourselves, invest the money in ourselves. There's no way we would be where we're at now. I mean, no way. And the cool thing is from these masterminds, like, we have found future business partners that we're partnering with in big, big ways that are just catapulting us. It's not like addition when you get together with all these people, right? It's more like it's exponential growth is what it is.
I don't think I've even updated you. Like I met an amazing copyright guy in my first mastermind. This just goes to show you the growth. I just reached out to him. He's the best in the business. I was like, you just joined our team. I'm going to tell you this. Like, so now I met an amazing copyright guy and I'm like, hey, at least he's like, well, what do you want from me? I'm like, well, I at least want to hire you to teach me to write better copyright. Think about like how many people we've met in all of these groups that are
a lot.
It's insane.
Whether directly or indirectly, the things that it's led to and the pieces that we have in the future that we still had to do, absolutely huge. It's astounding. It's astounding. And there's only one way. Like, who was it? I was talking to Scott, different Scott, right? Not me. Talking to Scott that it's really hard to meet everybody locally, to find really other good business owners that are willing to do this stuff. Like, and that's the internet has really helped this out. It's so important, though. It is so important to find a circle with like-minded people, with people who want to grow. They have a growth mindset like you do, and that you can learn from. You want to be not just with peers, but people who are further along than you too. And I mean, that's when I knew I outgrew that one group is, it's okay. Like, we have the biggest business in there and it's time to move on. Right. So we did that, but it's really, really, really important because it's that saying where whether your measure of success is like the people you're closest to or something like that. I'd have to look it up. The 5 closest people in your circle that you spend the most time with. And it's hard to do if you're just looking locally. But if you're in Facebook groups, if you're connecting with other business owners that you find, it's possible. It's absolutely possible.
I think the pandemic probably helped that even more, right?
It for sure did. I know. I mean, that was the catalyst for us. Yeah. Because it's just like pressure cooker, boom, just turn that oven up to 500 degrees, right? The uncertainty. I mean, we're pretty much past it now. So it's not that big of a deal. But remember, it wasn't so much that we were locked down. We had no idea how long. We had no information. It was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And then all of a sudden, like, that's out the window. And we're like, I don't know, could be another year or 2 or 3. Scary place to be in. But I know, think back, it wasn't that long ago. But that was the catalyst. And it did help. It helped us come together. You hired your people there, your coaches and stuff like that. And we connected a lot more because we started working together a lot over Zoom, especially too. Yeah. Like learning to use Zoom as a tool has been
game changer.
Game changer. Because then you can legitimately connect with people all over the world in a really meaningful way and learn a lot of stuff.
You just don't learn stuff. You learn everything happens. It's a trampoline. It's that I say it all the time. It's the Mario Brothers 3 cheat code. This last night, this is
with the unlimited P-wings you talk about.
Exactly. So Carrie and I we're moving and we're cleaning up just office stuff, and we ran into my first mastermind, our first PowerPoint presentation for a webinar we created, and we were just it was an insane moment where we looked over this and we're like, look what this is now. That would not have happened unless we kept on hiring.
Oh, our first one you talking about?
No, like the potato physique. Like what started off
way.
Yeah, we were. I'm like, oh my God, this sucks so much. And like where we are now, I'm like, babe, do you know how quick this happened? But it did not happen, and it happened because we kept on gambling on ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep on gambling on ourselves. We're currently looking for the next coach that we're going to hire and work with.
Yeah,
but it happens so much faster. Yeah, that's the only way, and it's fast. If you find the right team.
It is incredibly fast. And it's funny, like, I started getting wind of this as the more business books I started, like, education's everything. You have to invest in yourself, but you're going to have to spend the good money because that's where the good answers are. But, every single, like, business book or every single, like, entrepreneur that I'm seeing that made it and did it fairly quickly, like, there's a lot of all the hard work for years that you don't see, but the ones who've really exploded and done well and growing or at where you'd want to be at, they all talk about who they learn from. They all talk about the groups that they were like. Even if they don't talk about it, once you know them, then you figure out who was their business coach, and then who was.
Yep.
And it is amazing. You're like, literally everyone who's become something has joined the groups and worked with the best people. Like that is, if there's one secret to success, that's it.
Isn't it Grant Cardone said, like, I think they asked him, like, what advice would you give to the 20-year-old version of yourself? I'm going to be butchering this. But he said, invest every single penny into just personal development.
Yes.
That's what Brax is going to do, my son.
And you can hear that. Like, I've heard that. I've heard him say that multiple times, right? Whether you love Grant or you hate him, doesn't matter. His success is insane. But I've heard that. And I've you hear that from others too. But it doesn't really sink in until you actually, and that doesn't mean, I bought this book or I bought this $200 course.
You brought out your Amex and slapped it down.
Well, you didn't know how you're going to pay for yours, and you're just like, I got to do it.
That's a true story.
And but yeah, it doesn't really become true until you do that, and then you look in the rearview mirror, and it's like, that was like a year or two ago for the potato physique, year and a half ago.
God, yeah.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, 18 months.
Or 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And look at that. That is insane. And then you look back on it, and I mean, if you tallied up, I think we did this maybe 2-3 months ago. We kind of tallied up roughly what we'd spent on everything in the past couple of years for coaching, seminars,
it was
webinars.
$70K, I believe.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it was a rough estimate, but I think it came out to like 72-ish change. But if you think of what's come back from that,
right,
multiples. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
How fast? I mean, after this, I never really thought, like, going into this, we write on our, not our script, but hey, what are we going to touch on? Just how much faster things happen when you invest in yourself and you put yourself in groups with other like-minded people. Just that growth, it really is. I mean, you can go to the moon fast.
Yeah, it's crazy
if you're with the right group.
And that's where
that's the key, though.
The people that we're partnering on with our future project, that's where we found them too.
Right,
all of them.
Wow.
Right. Which, if we weren't in that, we would have never connected with them, And then what we can do when there's, not just us two, but others it's pretty scary, actually. But it's awesome. But where else are you going to find these people to partner with? Because you can't do it all yourself. You cannot do it all yourself.
If you get in the right mastermind too, like the thing that we're in a position now where everyone can stay in their lane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have a lot of similarities, but we have a lot of differences too.
Yeah.
Investing in the right masterminds, and then allowing yourself to really build a good team of people, then you can take real ownership of the thing that you love doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And because that's the whole thing. I guess we didn't even touch on that, but why we sucked for 8-9 years and trying to do it all by ourselves. That also goes down to those tasks. Like, you can't do all your social media and all your copy and all your management and develop everything. You can't do it all. At a certain point, you're going to completely limit your growth by not handing off lower value tasks.
Well, you don't just limit your growth, you hate your life too.
Yeah. That's probably the bigger thing. Yeah. When you're stuck doing everything you hate doing 50-75% of the time, it's pretty miserable. Pretty miserable.
Wow.
So anyways, if we boil it down to why we sucked for so long, it really comes down to the fact that we try to do everything ourselves, that we did not reach out and learn from others who already have arrows in their backs. We didn't network and surround ourselves with like-minded, growth-minded people. We didn't do those things. It took us a while to do it. And then when we finally did it, it's just been exponential growth.
And we're not done doing it though either. Like I said,
right.
Like right now, I'm searching out. Like, we're in between coaches right now, and we're still like, okay, who are we going to work with? Like, I had that itching to gamble again.
Yeah.
And maybe we get the wrong person this time. That's the cool thing when you do
that.
That
could happen, right?
100%.
And again, like, if I looked, I'm like, did I learn? Like, it's not even about that. It's like betting in yourself, investing in yourself. All these things that having a growth mindset will do. That's going to be an indicator of your success. And we started our own mastermind, right? We have a meeting We're taking Jet Suite X to Vegas in August, which I'm pumped about. So we are starting our
social
own
media.
Yeah. We're starting our own mastermind, which we're carefully selecting. This is people in different industries for that. And we'll have our own. We have our own with PT Legends, of course, but we have another one that we've recently assembled. That'll be coming up too. But then, we have to search for the next person. We got to figure out, hey, what do we really need to get next level at? Like, who do we need to find that's the best in the world at what we need to do for the next step? And that's really who we're hiring. So, if that's you,
right,
drop us an email. But so
I want to get pitched to.
Yeah,
let's get pitched. If you're out there listening, and you're like, David Scott need me. Okay.
Yeah. Figure out who we are,
right.
And if we need you, we'd love to hear from you. That's for sure. Of course, those guys at that level,
probably not listen to our podcast right now.
Yeah,
one day maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But so that's it, really, guys. That's why we suck for so long. Don't repeat the same things. You're in this group, so you are. Well, maybe you're not. Go to our Facebook group. There's other gym owners just like you in there that have very similar problems. And you can learn from us in what we're dropping there too. So that's a great place to start, and then keep looking where you can find your answers and get your shortcuts.
Have you listened to David Goggins' book?
Yes,
it's fantastic. But he always does the challenges hashtag.
Yeah.
So this is hashtag why I suck. Let's get that going underneath session.
That's actually good. Yeah.
Right. That's really good.
Goggins
hashtag
cracks me up.
Why I suck.
He's like, people think I'm crazy. People think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I just think different. It's like, no, David, you're crazy.
David,
love you, man, but you're nuts.
Nuts. So there's our challenge for you out there. Take ownership of why you suck.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't shove the skeletons in the closet, right? Like, take a look at where you suck, and be like, okay, well, who doesn't suck in that arena? And how do I learn?
Suck less.
And suck less. And every day you suck less, you'll get closer and closer where you want to be. So, anything else to add, Dave?
No, this is a good one.
It's a good one. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be on next week.
Dave and myself, Scott, would love to thank you for tuning in and listening to the PT Legends podcast. You can get direct access to us by joining our free Facebook group. Go to www.facebook.com/groups/7-figure personal trainer. That's 7-figure personal trainer with the number 7. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep on learning and keep on living. Finally, if you picked up any tips whatsoever in this episode that you found helpful, be sure to leave us a review and tell us what you like best about it. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.